I am in Dubai now. I'm back in Dubai. I've been here a couple of times before. And there are two reasons I decided to go here to Dubai. One of them is Expo 2020, as they call it, even though it's not 2020 anymore. But the World Expo is here, and this is something that I really wanted to see, especially after speaking to Jason from Connecticut, who goes to every single expo there is, and he talked so warmly about it, so I thought I need to go here. And being in Dubai, I bet it's over the top, and I'm outside the gate right now, just about to go in. But the other reason I'm in Dubai was because I'm booked for a cruise that leaves in 2 days, all the way from Dubai down along the coast of Africa and ending up in Cape Town. It's an 18-day cruise, stopping in Oman, 2 places in the Seychelles, then Madagascar, Mauritius, Réunion, and then 3 places in South Africa before stopping in Cape Town. And if you're a regular listener, you would know that Cape Town is my favorite place, so being back there would be okay, and say hi to all my friends down there, which would be nice. But then what happened was that I booked this cruise through a travel agent, and a week ago I got a message from her, not from Norwegian Cruise Lines, even though they did send me all kinds of promotion stuff, so they got my email address. They also sent me a confirmation, so I'm supposed to get stuff from them as well, but they didn't tell me about the change in the itinerary. I got that from my agent, and it was a massive change. They took off the Seychelles, they took off Madagascar and Réunion, and 2 of the 4 places in South Africa. So it was a completely different cruise, and not the one I bought into, but they're allowed to do that. So I sort of said, well, should I go or should I not? But I more or less decided on going. Then through a Facebook group from cruises going on this cruise, we heard a rumor that it would change again, that South Africa was totally off the table because of the new variant that is down there, and that we instead would be going to 4 different stops in India and then the Maldives, which was nice. India and the Maldives, it's a completely different cruise, and then end up back in Dubai. So different cruise ending in a completely different continent, so a completely different thing. But actually it did sound a little bit interesting, so I thought, yeah, I'll do that if that's what it comes down to. But we couldn't get that rumor confirmed. It was just a rumor, and instead, when I was on the flight from Copenhagen to Dubai, I got an email from the travel agent saying that the cruise had been completely cancelled. So I'm not going on a cruise in 2 days. I don't know exactly what I'll do. I'll probably stay a little bit longer here in Dubai and spend some more time on the expo and see some other stuff and not just rush it. And then let's see where I'm going from here, but not on the cruise. And yeah, things change. What I think is a little bit suspicious and not right from Norwegian Cruise Lines is that they'd never changed the website. I think it still says that they're selling the cruise to Cape Town with the original itinerary. When they changed the itinerary more than a week ago, they did not update the website. In fact, that made me so confused, so I called them and pretended to be somebody who wanted to buy the cruise, and they said, no, it's the exact same route, and nothing has been changed. And I said, well, I did hear from a friend of mine that it had been changed. No, it's exactly the same. I said, are you sure? I actually saw the email and it looked pretty official with a Norwegian Cruise Lines logo on it and all of that. And they said, well, let me go and check. And then 5 minutes later, she came back and said, well, you're absolutely right. It has been changed and I wasn't informed of it. So that's kind of weird. And then 3 days later, it was still the same. I went on a chat and spoke to somebody, and he said it's all the same, and nothing has been changed, and you want to buy it. And it seems kind of like they want to sell the cruise, and then after, once they get you the payment, they can say, well, you want your money back, or you want just a discount. Sounds almost like fraud, I in my opinion. So not cool. But then now it's completely cancelled. So, well, I'm not going on a cruise. But right now I'm going into Expo 2020 and I'm so looking forward to that.
I've called this episode Visiting the Whole World in Dubai because that is what we're doing. And I mentioned someone called Jason before. In case you don't remember, Jason was my Couchsurfing host from Connecticut. That was also the main organizer of the CouchCrash I had the pleasure of attending a few years back. When I was there, Jason told me that for the last 20 years or so, he's been going to every single World Expo. Obviously, I've heard about them, and it's always been something I wanted to do, and especially when I heard that it was going to be in Dubai. The way I know Dubai, they always strive to do everything bigger and better, so this could only be over the top amazing. And now I'm here. I'm about to walk through the gates and experience this massive event. And you can join me. My name is Palle Bo. This is the Radio Vagabond episode 222. Welcome to the whole world in Dubai.
Meet Palle Bo, a full-time traveler and digital nomad from Denmark on an epic journey around the world. This is the Radio Vagabond.
This episode is brought to you in part by Hotels25.com. Whenever you need a hotel anywhere in the world, go to Hotels25.com. That would get you the best price. Hotels25.com searches a bunch of the biggest hotel sites in one simple search. Hotels25.com.
This is the Radio Vagabond podcast.
But now that we're here, let's start with some interesting hardcore facts about Expo 2020 Dubai.
And now, facts about where we are.
Expos have been held every 5 years, more or less, across the globe since the first World Fair was held in London in 1851. This one is called Expo 2020 Dubai. Yeah, you guessed it, it was postponed a year because of you know what, but kept the name Expo 2020 Dubai. These are gigantic events and typically attract more visitors than the FIFA World Cup and the Olympics put together. The organizers here in Dubai expect that a whopping 25 million people visit this event, despite concerns about the pandemic's impact on global travel and tourism. So World Expos are global gatherings of nations to find solutions to pressing challenges of our time. Dubai won the bid in 2013, beating competitions from Russia, Turkey and Brazil with the theme Connecting Minds, Creating the Future. It's located in the Dubai South area, and they even made a dedicated metro station. The station is equipped to carry as many as 44,000 passengers per hour, per direction. The station is called Expo 2020, but after the Expo's 6-month run, the station will be renamed to District 2020. The area of the Expo itself is also massive. It covers a total of 4.4 square kilometers, 1.7 square miles. That's around 800 football fields, so moving around, you'll get your steps in. Alternatively, Expo Explorer trains are available with stops at the thematic districts. You can also rent Expo buggies, and then you can jump on the free buses that they call people movers. It's divided into 3 main districts: Sustainability, Mobility and Opportunity, and in the middle, Al Wasl Plaza. Al Wasl means connection and was Dubai's historic name. Here is a huge 360-degree dome that turns into the world's largest projection surface at night. One huge screen. It's almost as wide as 2 Airbus A380s placed wing to wing, taller than the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and it's made from 550 tons of molded steel, weighing as much as 25 blue whales. You like the comparisons? Under the dome there's also live performances. A few days after my visit, Alicia Keys was performing right here with a white grand piano. You can find a clip of her performance in the notes section of this episode.
And that was Facts About Where We Are.
let's start exploring. And let's see if you can hear where I'm going first.
I'm in the Australia Pavilion, and there's a big round room with a dome that shows a 360 video. Right now we see the night sky of Australia, and there are some shooting stars across the sky and the Milky Way. It's really well made here, and obviously we see a lot of the Australian nature of kangaroos jumping around and this sunburnt country.
The stars. Across cultures, there is much meaning and stories attributed to the night sky. For the Aboriginal people of Australia, the Frost Australians, the stars hold the knowledge. Since the beginning of time, the skies have guided us and determined our seasonal activities across our 6-season country.
As one of the first stops around the massive World Expo, I decided to say good day to Australia. The Australia Pavilion highlights the country's diversity, ingenuity and contribution through 60,000 years of innovation and indigenous connection to land, sea and sky. They call it blue sky dreaming, and with that they want to condense the aspirations and achievements of their nation and harness the Australian spirit of optimism and ideas. It is truly spectacular and celebrates Australia's embracing openness where diversity, harmony, creativity, problem solving and collaboration thrive. We enjoy a series of immersive and dreamlike experiences inspired by aspects of the Australian landscape, culture and creativity.
Travel is possible at any age. Your sense of adventure is just over the horizon. So, reach out and grab it. This is the Radio Vagabond. Gotta keep moving.
"192 countries are here, so it is almost the whole world you can meet here at Expo 2020 Dubai. And in that sense, it's the biggest expo ever. But my friend Jason has told me that this one seemed less visited compared to other expos, at least when he was there. On other expos, there's been typically a 45-minute wait to get into every pavilion. Here, it only happened a few times in peak hours.
So the Danish hot dog here is chicken. But I'm trying to explain to this American that the Danish hot dog is the best in the world.
Next to the Australia Pavilion, there's a smaller one from a much smaller country. My own home country, Denmark.
The spices or whatever goes into.
Yeah, but it looks the same with
sauces, ketchup, remoulade, the Danish sauce.
Oh, you got the remoulade?
Okay, that was the key?
That's the key.
All right. I will get the hot dog in.
Of course, as a proud Dane, I had to check that out. And outside I find a hot dog stand selling the typical Danish hot dog.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes, they are different, trust me. I was there with Kim, an American friend, and I persuaded her to try one.
Okay, here's a hot dog, and it looks kind of authentic. It's close enough. And Kim, this is your first Danish hot dog ever.
Indeed, and I am eager to try it.
Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
All right, we'll dig in.
We're sitting at a table outside the pavilion, right next to a Viking ship made out of Lego, of course.
You taste the remoulade?
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yum. I mean, I thought it would be spicy for some reason.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah. It is a little bit spicy because he's got the chicken, the spicy chicken
now
here.
I feel it in my throat.
And in Denmark we would serve it with pork, but they can't do that here. So but it's got everything, so it's still good.
And the pickle is not sweet or sour.
There's also a troll that you might know from the DreamWorks movies, Trolls. Yeah, they also come from Denmark.
Have these toppings on it when you get them at home?
You can choose.
Okay.
You can choose, but normally, yeah.
Well, this is definitely more sweet than sour to my taste buds. Oh my God, this is the best hot dog I've ever had. This is amazing. Right?
Inside there's a small shop with some typical Danish design products and furniture. You can also taste the typical Danish lakrids by Bülow, delicious licorice and chocolate licorice, and also a small exhibition from Maersk, one of the world's biggest container shipping companies. Upstairs, you'll find a rooftop bar and restaurant showcasing delicious cuisine and drinks like Carlsberg beer from Denmark. The rooftop restaurant is run by Restaurant De To Have. In English, that means Restaurant The Two Oceans. Normally, this restaurant is found at the very top of Denmark, in Skagen, where the two oceans, Skagerrak and Kattegat, meets. A few facts about my country. Denmark is officially one of the happiest countries in the world. The Danish flag dates back to 1219 and is the first flag in the world to be acknowledged. And no matter where you are in Denmark, you'll never be more than 52 kilometers away from the ocean.
This is the Radio Vagabond podcast.
We were at the Australian Pavilion just before, and then this week I heard from a listener from Down Under. I got this one from Nikki from Sydney through Instagram. Hi Palle, I just listened to your podcast this week. I've been following your journey for the last year. A lot of the time I've been in lockdown in Sydney, so it's been a breath of fresh air to hear your stories about travel and adventure. And also so inspiring, giving me the confidence to make a plan. At the end of the year, when my youngest child will go off to university, I'm working on making all my work remote so myself and my husband can travel. I really wanted to say thanks, keep doing what you're doing. Also, really hope to meet you out there one day. Nikki. Hi Nikki, thanks, and it sounds like you're about to do what I did in 2016. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions about the transition to becoming more or less nomadic. Good luck, and yes, maybe we'll meet somewhere in the world.
You can also send a few lines to Palle Bo and get featured on the show. Tell him where you are and what you're doing right now as you're listening to these words. Just click on Contact on theradiovagabond.com and fill out the form. The Radio Vagabond. Gotta keep moving.
Right now I'm not in El Salvador. Or I kind of am. I'm in the El Salvador Pavilion. And Graciela is about to give me a cup of coffee. So is this El Salvadorian coffee?
It is.
Yeah, it would be kind of bad if you were serving a Colombian coffee or...
We don't dare to do that.
No.
So their coffee is good as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a Salvadorian variety. It's called pacas. And this one in particular is a honey process. So in this process, we take the coffee cherries when they are ripe. In our country, people still do it by hand. So they take the ripe cherries, and then in this particular process, they remove the skin and leave part of the fruit around the coffee bean. So as it stays under the sun, the fruity part starts to melt and caramelizes, and it goes like into a fermentation process because of the sugars of the fruit, and it adds flavor to the coffee bean inside. So after some period under the sun, it is roasted, and then you're tasting the coffee now.
It's very, very good.
So this one's very fruity in taste. You might find some citrus notes. And if you smell the coffee, like if you swirl the cup and smell it, you will smell some sweetness in there. And the first sip is always sour, but as you drink it and as you build it up in your palate, you'll focus less in the sour and you'll start to taste all the other flavors. And most of the time, your aftertaste is dark chocolate and cacao. And yeah, it is from the east part of our country in a volcano that is called Chinchontepec. I don't know if you were able to go there.
Which I was at a volcano, but which one is that?
No, probably you went to Ilamatepec. Like,
Yeah.
This is Izalco, actually, from Ilamatepec.
I have to look it up on the top of my head. I can't remember it, but it was a bit of a hike to go up there.
See, like a blue lagoon on top.
Yeah.
So that's from Santa Ana.
Exactly.
But this is from Chinchontepec. Now
Okay.
try to say that faster.
Yeah. But say it again.
Chinchontepec.
Chinchontepec.
This is the first time this happened.
But speaking of coffee, I think it's so funny. When I was in Colombia, they said, "Oh, we have the best coffee," and then I came to Panama. "Oh, we have the best coffee," and Costa Rica, "We have." And I was in Bali. I got the cat pooping coffee as well, Luwak, which was super good as well. So it's a hard competition, and obviously you have to root for your own country.
Of course, we have the best coffee. No. But in all fairness, I think it's hard to compare because each country has its own soil, mineral water, fauna, flora, and it all adds to the coffee. So you might find similar notes in coffees, but they are different at the end of the day, and it's really hard to compare. But it depends on what you like. It depends on the varieties that you choose. And of course, we have the best coffee.
Yeah, but this is definitely the best I've had all week. I can tell you. Yeah, at least.
Well, Joanna made it.
Yeah.
I made with love.
Yeah. And one of the things I really like about this pavilion is that it's actually locals here. In many of the other pavilions, it's not, but here it is El Salvadorian.
Yeah, well, most of us, but we also have staff from other countries. But it reflects what El Salvador is like. We're welcoming people and we embrace people, and if we feel like a family, even though they're not from El Salvador, but it feels like they're Salvadorian. So it reflects what our country is like. You've been there, and you were treated by locals, and how did you feel?
It was so good. I felt so welcome, and obviously many of the other countries in Central America has got a lot of good things going for them, but like Costa Rica, for example, it's got so many tourists, and then El Salvador, not so much. So I think it's really so true when you say don't skip El Salvador.
Don't. Usually people skip it, as you say, but we're still like a, how do you say, like a hidden gem, like hidden treasure. Like once you are there, you know what is there, and most people try to keep it a secret because they still want to keep it for themselves, especially if you're a surfer. You don't want crowded beaches, you don't want, you want the surf, you want the waves. So that could be a reason why, but yeah, come to El Salvador, we're waiting for you all.
Thank you so much. See, that wasn't bad.
No, it was not.
No.
Not tricky questions.
I'm leaving the El Salvador pavilion and past the biggest and maybe most impressive pavilion of them all. Not surprising, that's the pavilion from the host country, United Arab Emirates. It's shaped like a falcon in flight and is really impressive, especially from the outside.
Our world is quite old. Many incredible forces have created and shaped our planet for millions and billions of years. When, all of a sudden, life began.
And then I'm entering the German pavilion. It's designed as the center of knowledge, research, and human interaction. It's like a university campus, and therefore they call it Campus Germany.
At some point, we came along. Seemingly within the blink of an eye, mankind took the stage. And we began to shape the planet ourselves, fitting it best to our needs.
As I'm going through the building, there are so many interactive things to do. As visitors, we can get an entertaining, surprising, hands-on digital experience as we engage in questions about global warming, sustainability, and innovation. It's varied, interactive, and makes the visit unforgettable. When I came out, I pulled Annika Belisle aside. She's the head of communication at Campus Germany.
So Annika, I've just been shown around the German pavilion, and I could spend hours in there. And we were on a little bit of a time limit, so I might go back and just play around because it's kind of learning while playing.
Please do come back. I mean, there is so much to explore. I know that it takes a while to see everything that we have and to really, look into the details that every exhibit displays.
Yeah. So if you can help me describe it, the building itself and the whole architecture is amazing.
Sure. So the idea was to focus on an education-based pavilion. So the pavilion as such is called Campus Germany. And the visitor journey too is based on a university. So we want the visitor to feel like they enroll in a university, they go through different thematic areas, and then they end up in a so-called graduation hall. And throughout their journey, they have the opportunity, if they want to learn new things about sustainability, about innovations and ideas from Germany.
Yeah. Did you set up saying, okay, we want to do something where people want to spend a long time, and win kind of that competition of where people spend the longest time?
It's definitely more a quality journey than a quantity journey, I think, because being here for 6 months, we want the visitors to really take something home after their visit to the German pavilion. And I know that we can show videos about the countryside of Germany or tell you about what nice areas we have, but Expo is about so much more than that. We really want the visitor to feel like it was worth visiting the pavilion. I feel like I've either learned something or I've realized something new, and that was the idea for this entire concept.
But then obviously it's also the whole World Expo is about showcasing your own country, and you feel that this is something that Germany is in the forefront of, being innovative in the sustainability?
I definitely think so. We know that we still have a lot of work to do, but we are trying to go towards the right direction. And there's even one exhibit where we show how far different countries have advanced when it comes to sustainable energies. And it shows clearly that Germany is not the front runner yet, but we try to be there. But we also try to push others to do the same, because the effect that we need to keep our world healthy and sustainable can only be achieved if we do so together. And that's what we also try to show here.
Yeah. And a nice touch is that we all get a badge. So whenever we're close to a screen, then my name went up on so many screens as I moved along. And even in the last exhibit, we're not going to spoil what that was about, but that was really, really unique experience with some huge screens. And there, my light was like in Neo on the screen.
Yes, we want to make this as personalized as we can, and these name tags that we hand out at the beginning help us in doing so. But they have an additional effect. It's not only about you and the exhibition, but it's about you and others in the exhibition, because we are also able to enter the language that a person speaks. So two people who do not necessarily speak the same language can interact with one and the same exhibit at the same time. So we try to go beyond this cultural and language barrier and get people together again.
Yeah, and mine was ingrained that I'm Danish, so in one screen it showed the result of how Denmark was doing.
Yes, there's this connection to your own home country, so you can relate more to what we are trying to show here.
And compared to a lot of the other pavilions I've visited, here is it almost only German people here? You have a lot of German people, and in many of the other pavilions it's people from other countries than the actual country. Was that a big thing that you wanted it to be very German?
Yes, we definitely also wanted to have this personal touch, because people visit the pavilion and I think they expect to see someone from Germany in the pavilion. We have quite a large team. We have a total of 180 people working here. And the precondition was that everyone speaks perfect German, so we can explain things in German too. And of course, therefore, many of them are from Germany, because German is not such a widespread language. Yeah. But the great thing that I personally see here is that our team is super diverse, and this also reflects the Germany of today. It's not this blonde girl with the blue eyes anymore, but there's a wild mix of people, and we show this here too, and it's such an amazing atmosphere also to work with.
Yeah, and I guess when you get home, you will always have this in common. So in a way, this is also your campus.
Yes, definitely. We will take this feeling of Expo home with us, and it will stay with us forever.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been really interesting.
It's been my pleasure.
One of the most interesting things to visit, in my opinion, was not from a country. It's a big building, an exhibition called the Sustainability Pavilion. Outside it's got more than 1,000 solar panels on 18 so-called energy trees that capture energy from the sun. That helps generate more than 4 gigawatt hours.
What the hell is a gigawatt? Gigawatts? Tom, how am I going to generate that kind of power? It can't be done.
Enough to charge more than 900,000 mobile phones. Other interesting things to see are the Mobility Pavilion that includes the world's largest passenger lift that can carry more than 160 people at a time. And the Dubai Exhibition Center, a gigantic conference zone for exhibitions, dinners and concerts. This can be divided into 9 halls that can host between 300 and 20,000 people. Yeah, everything is just bigger in Dubai. As I'm watching all these impressive buildings, I can't help thinking about what's going to happen to this area after the expo is over at the end of March. And thank God they're not going to tear everything down, and a few of them will even stand as permanent exhibitions. The Sustainability Pavilion, Mobility Pavilion, Al Wasal Plaza with the big dome, and the Dubai Exhibition Center. They will remain after Expo ends. But what happens to the other parts? Well, some of the buildings might be converted into office spaces, and some might be taken down. But there will be a whole new district that comes to life after October 2022. A smart, future-ready city called District 2020. The sustainability and energy savings are at the heart of the concerns of this exhibition. So 90% of the materials used during the construction process will be reused and repurposed to build public buildings. And we talked about solar panels before. These actions are targeted to decrease the carbon footprint, to decrease water and energy consumption.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Japan Pavilion. Soon you're about to start the journey.
I've saved one of the best pavilions for last, the Japan Pavilion. Before we go inside, I'm given a smartphone that will keep track of what I show interest in when I'm in the building. With headphones, I can hear different sound effects depending on where I am in a room. At different times, I'm given a choice to go through different doors, like when 4 doors suddenly appeared and the question, "What's your favorite season of the year?" I went through the door named Summer. And the final room had video projections on all sides, and in front of me was something specific on the screen with the info that the smartphone hanging around my neck had collected. Then we were all asked to run around the room, and then the space was filled with cool, ultra-fine mist that helped visualize three-dimensional art. This was an immersive experience that played on all senses. When I came out, still with my head spinning, I was greeted by Aiko Ikeno, the Secretary General from the Japan Pavilion.
Aiko, I just went through this experience and it was, all my senses were overloaded. Because there's just something happening for every sense. It's so hard to explain, but the sights, obviously a lot of visual stuff. Yeah. We all have headphones that are unique to who we are and where I am in the room, so it gives me sound effects, it gives me storytelling about what I see and where I am, and then at the last one we had to run around as well. So it was an exercise, and all of a sudden the whole room got covered in smoke. So what kind of people are you that come up with all that?
Actually, we're very happy that you felt the way we wanted you to feel. So the whole story behind is that each and every one of us is very different, but because we're different and we meet each other, we can make a better world. So I think you saw a lot of things that were circled in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end, when you saw the room with all the white mist, it means at the end it's borderless and we're living in the same world. And the little secrets that we had is the smartphone, as you said. You can hear the surrounding while you have the personal guidance, right?
Exactly.
So if you choose the spring scene, it will give you the scenery of the spring and the information in front of you.
Yeah, because at some point we had to choose which
Yes,
door to
yes,
went.
yes. So it's
I
like
went
an
through the
interaction.
summer.
You went to the summer, yes, yes. My favorite too. So. And then this is because it's a secret that we're keeping is the location where you visited accordingly to your interest, which at the last scene when you were walking around and running around with everyone, this is a real-time graphic art.
Yeah.
So it's generated because of your tour. It's actually a real time. So every time you visit us, you will get a different graphic art.
Oh, really?
Yes. And that's according to your interest. And you don't know maybe that you have a blue one today. Next day you come, you have a green one. That means you're showing interest to the ocean. You're showing interest to the forest. So you don't know yourself, like what you have your interest in yourself, right? So the avatar is like a new you.
Yeah.
So you saw your new self, you saw what you're really interested in without realizing it.
Yeah.
And then at the end when you walk around, when we see all colors mixing around, and at the end becoming the world together, and you come at the last scene, you're able to leave your message. Like you are a very thoughtful person for the ocean. You can leave a message how you can contribute to the pollution, to stop the pollution of the ocean.
The overall theme that you would like us to take away from here, for me, it was that if we work together, we can combine our ideas and stuff like that. Am I on the right track?
Very much, because that's how innovation is built. It's actually one idea meeting together. So it might be like something that's usual to you, usual to me also, but you might not know about my idea and I don't know your idea. And if we meet together, we can have an innovative idea. So it doesn't always have to be a high-end technology that's saving the world, but it's actually how we are cultivating this innovation is by meeting each other and sharing ideas. So you've got our theme.
And having such a stunning pavilion, it's obviously also a platform for Japan to be noticed. So why is this something that is uniquely Japan?
We think so. We have a long history and culture that we wanted to share. So each scene, you will feel little by little something about Japan, something you know, some of the animation that you know, and so it's like a little things that you know, little things you don't know.
As a Northern European, I would say Japan, a lot of history, super creative, and a little bit crazy in the good way.
yes. Very like unique. So we like learning from others, but yet we have a distinct identity of ourselves, which I think is a little unique. We have our own language, and
So this is my first expo, but definitely not my last. And now I know that I have to go back to Osaka in 4 years because Expo is coming to Osaka in 25.
Yes. So it's Osaka Kansai area, which we did the expo in 1970. Remember the 1970 Osaka Expo?
I don't really.
Which at that time our offering was like how we were able to rebuild our country. But this time we need your idea to host this expo because we're calling it a People's Living Lab. So that's why we're collecting your ideas. We have a lot of social challenges that we want to work together with. Like for us, aging society. You won't imagine 29.1% of the 127 million people in Japan is over 65. That means we're aging the fastest.
Exactly.
But we need your idea. Like for example, in the Middle East, maybe half of the population is still under 20. Such a young country, right? Compared from Japan. So we need the younger one's idea, and we can mix it with our idea, and we can both think how we can live happily for the 100 years lifetime expectancy in these days, right?
Just hearing you talk now, I want to go back to Japan tomorrow.
You can go back to Japan with our sushi restaurant here already.
That's where I'm going next.
Taste.
Absolutely. It was so nice speaking to you, and thank you so much for the experience. It was great.
Thank you so much.
So the next World Expo is in 2025 in Osaka, Japan. And the focus for that expo will be designing a future society. I spent 4 days at Expo 2020, and I only saw a fraction. I'm actually glad that the cruise got cancelled. If that hadn't happened, I would have seen even less. Now I'm fully decided to go to Osaka in Japan for Expo 2025, and I plan to spend at least a week there. Remember to go see the pictures of this event on theradiovagabond.com, and also you should watch a YouTube video from one of my favorite YouTubers, Lost LeBlanc. I've also linked to that one on theradiovagabond.com and in the notes section of your podcast listening app.
رحلة القطار سوف تنتهي عند المحطة القادمة. على جميع الركاب مغادرة القطار في المحطة والرجاء التأكد من أخذ جميع أغراضكم الشخصية.
I hope you liked this episode, and if you did, please share it with somebody that might be interested in a World Expo.
Your attention, please. This train terminates at the next station. All passengers must leave the train at the station. Please take all your belongings with you when leaving the train.
My name's Palabo, and I gotta keep moving. See ya.
Produced by RadioGuru.co.uk.